Hello and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I am Chrissy and you are joining us today for one of our Mum Boss at Home community check-ins. I have just been recording for about 12 minutes, but I actually haven't just been recording. The record button was not hit. So yeah, that's good. Anyway, you're joining me today for a Mum Boss at Home community check-in. I think I've just said that. And this is where my Mum Boss at Home community clients fill in their check-in forms, we celebrate their wins, and I help them to get unstuck and I answer their questions. So let's go through the wins then. I'm going to speed through these. Laura's feeling better after COVID. Lisa's not turning to food to boost her mood. Claire's been making the Chrissy breakfast. She's going to make that again, and she also has been keeping up with the movement challenge and other exercises. Sarah's sticking to her calorie tracking and meal plans and getting her workouts and steps in. Jack's been making lunches, which she would normally make an excuse not to do during the holidays. Stacey's starting to feel better after illness. Sophie drove on Saturday night and picked somewhere for dinner where she could pre-plan her food and stay in line with her goals. And I just wanted to comment on this because you might hear that and think, oh, why would you do that? Why would you change where date night was? But Sophie recognised that after having a work trip abroad and then having a few social weeks, she was really struggling to stay within her calorie allowance, mainly driven by some of that socialisation. So what she's done is she still wants to enjoy date night, but she's just changed that a little bit so she can enjoy it and stay in line with her goals, and that's exactly what we mean by balance. Jamie, right, and then obviously the door went and I had to go and get it because it was my husband's birthday present being delivered. Jamie made it through a tough week and did 3 strength workouts. Emma did 16,000 steps at a festival and neither of her feet fell off. Love that. Hannah is making self-care time a non-negotiable, which would have previously been the first thing to go in a busy week with a house full of kids. And Tish has kept her steps between 12 and 15k each day. Amazing, Tish, well done. Okay, sorry, I ran up the stairs and now I'm all out of breath. Okay, so got a lot of illness in the group at the moment. So this is from one person who has been feeling rubbish and although they're better now, they've been using the fact they've been ill as a bit of an excuse, and they said, any tips on getting motivated again? So don't wait for motivation. It's not going to turn up. It's unreliable. Instead, set yourself some targets for the next 3 days. Tell us what they are in the WhatsApp group. I'd recommend writing yourself a meal plan for the next 3 days and then stick to those 3 days religiously. You will be so surprised at how much better you will feel physically and mentally just by sticking to something, ticking off all the boxes every day for 3 days, and then it will be so much easier to carry on. Next question. With my current health issues, what step goal or range should I aim for? So I can't give you a specific step goal, or I don't think that would be helpful, is more accurate. But I'd recommend that you get outside for a walk every single day, even if it's just 20 minutes. Like sometimes that might be 15. You have to see how you feel. Sometimes you might feel like you can go for 45. But I recommend, you've not been well, you're waiting for surgery, I recommend that you get outside every day. The same person has said, I really want to focus on being as healthy as I can before surgery, so any tips would be great. So here I say focus on your food because your movement is a bit more limited. Remember as well that energy comes from food and you've been struggling with really low energy. Think about it this way. If you put shit in, you're going to feel like shit, and you already feel like shit because you're waiting for surgery. So let's not make it worse for ourselves. Focus on protein, fruit, veggies, water, and then getting the walks in, as I've already said. Okay, so next one. I drank too much on 2 nights out. I enjoy it too much. The excuse this person has given is that, in their words, not wanting to drink less. So I've read that as I don't really want to drink less. I enjoy it. So I love the honesty in this. And here's the thing, right? Most things in life come down to a choice, and that choice mostly will mean some kind of compromise or on some occasions, sacrifice. Now, alcohol is a different one for many of my clients, and I think if you don't suffer from the negative effects of alcohol, such as a hangover or poor sleep, it's really easy not to see a downside, and it's really easy to not understand why you need to cut it out, because for most people, in fact, it's not just the calories of alcohol that affect their progress. It's the feeling lethargic afterwards. It's, for me, the terrible sleep that I have if I drink. But there is also the calories part of it as well. So a question to ask yourself is my alcohol consumption getting in the way of my progress, my goals, and my health? And if the answer to that is yes, the next question is, am I happy with that? And if you are happy with that, then I think there's your answer. If you're not happy with that, then, there's also an answer there as well. Now, in fact, I said that the wrong way. If you're not happy with that, there's your answer. If you are happy with that, then that's also your answer. Another thing to consider is what would happen if you went on one of these nights out without drinking. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a glass of wine. Wine is the thing that affects me the worst. So at the moment, it's mainly gin and tonic that I'm drinking. But I do love a glass of wine. But the after effects for me of drinking wine are so bad that it puts me off. So, but one of the things I've struggled with cutting down my alcohol, and I'm not saying that this is definitely the case for you, but is that, I didn't think I was going to enjoy a night out without alcohol. That was a story I told myself. You're not as confident, you're not as fun, you're not going to have a good time if you don't have a couple of drinks. Well, when it got to the stage where I was literally not sleeping if I had a couple of drinks, I had to take it into hand. And I literally mean I could do, I think it was Mother's Day, I had like 2 or 3 glasses of Prosecco across the whole afternoon, and then I did not sleep that night. And I then didn't drink for a couple of months. So, what I would say is there a story you're telling yourself about you and alcohol? And that was a story I was telling myself, which is you don't have fun when you don't drink. Well, I kind of got forced into the situation where I had to find out whether that was true or not. And guess what? It isn't. I still am hilarious when I'm not drunk, and I have a good time. So just a question to ask yourself. Next question, are eggs bad for your cholesterol? I'm eating a couple of eggs most days as a protein source, and I don't know if this is an old wives' tale. So it's not an old wives' tale, but my mouse isn't working, so I can't see anything. Here we go. So it's a bit of an old wives' tale, and it's a bit of not an old wives' tale. Let me explain. So there's not really any conclusive data on this, and the most recent research in the UK was funded by the British Egg Association or something like that. What I would say is a couple of eggs most days of the week is fine, unless you have cholesterol issues, and then it's not. But you don't have cholesterol issues, so I would say that is absolutely fine. Let's have a look. Okay, there was no way of tracking at the festival, and now I'm finding it hard to get back on track. Okay, the festival looked amazing, by the way, and it was something I know you've wanted to do for a long time, so I'm really, really pleased that you enjoyed it. It doesn't matter that you didn't track the food while you were there. The thing to remember is the food at these things are notoriously hard to track. So, it would have just been a painful experience if you tried. But it does sound to me like there's some all or nothing creeping in here. So I absolutely want all of you to enjoy your life. It's so, so important. It's what life's about. But to be able to enjoy it, we need to have some non-indulgent days too. Because if we eat like we're at a festival every day, if we eat like we're on holiday every day, if we eat like it's our birthday every day, then we won't achieve our goals. It's honestly that simple. And that's why it's so important to learn how to balance these things. So I know that you specifically have said that you haven't got a full food shopping, which has meant poor decisions on some of the other days. So what I mean by balance is knowing that you're out at a festival at the weekend and that you're probably not going to have enough time to do the shopping around that. So pre-ordering that shopping earlier in the week. And this is where you're planning before the week starts, looking at the week ahead comes into play. Okay, so knowing you were at that festival, maybe that occurred on the day you would normally do your food shopping. Okay, so then I either need to do my food shopping and my food planning before the festival, or I need to order an online food shop to come, Monday or something. That's where planning your week, and not just going, right, I'll have breakfast, I'll have this for breakfast, this for lunch, and these things for dinner, but actually planning your week around what your social calendar looks like, your work calendar, the kids' calendars, all those things, fully planning what's going on. I know that one of the ladies in the group, who's just come back into the group after doing 3 months of one-to-one with me, when she read my how to plan your week guide, her comment to me was, I've realised I don't really plan my week. Yeah, I might plan my food, but I don't really plan my activities and my food around what those activities are, or my food around what the kids' plans are, or appointments or work. And that really changed the game for her. So think about, this comes back to that planning. And I know it's boring and no one thinks that planning is sexy, but honestly, it's a game changer when you start doing it. And it allows you to enjoy your social life and to enjoy these social occasions where you're going and eating at a festival, because you can say, right, that day, that's the festival, that's a bit of an indulgent day, but I've done the food planning, I've done the food shopping, the shopping's coming in, and I know that I've got some really good goal-aligned meals going on before the festival and after the festival, and I don't have to worry about it. And that's how we achieve the balance. We can have these indulgent days where we're eating at a festival and we're not worrying about it. But then what we're doing is making sure that 80 to 90% of all the other days, all of the boxes are ticked, including the calorie deficit if you've got a fat loss goal. Okay, so it's not going, I've eaten at a festival all day, I'm going to really restrict the next day. It's saying, right, eaten at a festival, draw a line under it, really enjoyed, back to normal, back to routine, back to ticking the boxes, which I know you're saying you're finding it hard to get back on track, but that's a mentality. That's a story you're telling yourself. Just do it. Don't think about it. Stop giving yourself the choice of not being on track. Just do it. And that way, that will enable you to enjoy these social occasions so much more if you just switch back into life as normal on a Monday where, I'm assuming you've not got huge social plans. If you have, you're a stronger woman than I am, because I can't ever have social plans on a Monday. But yeah, that's, it's really important that you enjoy these social occasions, but to be able to enjoy them well, we need some of those non-indulgent days as well. So again, similar feedback for you, similar suggestion for you. Write down a plan for the next 3 days and stick to it, no excuses. Okay, question. Do you have any tips on eating more whole foods without having to spend twice as long cooking every day or cooking all day Sunday? So I'm assuming what you've meant here are things like beans and lentils and pulses, which if you are going the true whole food route, that means buying them dried, soaking them and cooking them, which is what takes the length of time that it takes, because they have to be soaked overnight and then they take a couple of hours to cook and stuff. Honestly, I'd use the tinned or prepped versions of these. And I think I've said this already in this podcast. All of our choices are about consequences or compromise, or sometimes sacrifice. Everything has a consequence. So if you want to eat more whole food, but you don't want to buy the processed versions that come from a tin or, a packet, then this is going to mean doing the soaking and the cooking ahead of time. And because I'm assuming you don't want to have to remember to soak beans and lentils overnight every night, the easiest way to go about that is to batch cook them. I would try to find some compromise, do some research. The internet is brilliant for finding quick recipes. Find some quick and easy batch cooking recipes. Use things like slow cookers. They're fine to be using in this hot weather, and air fryers where you can. And it doesn't have to take all day on a Sunday. It really doesn't. I don't think there's anything wrong with spending an intentional hour and a half prepping for your week ahead at some point over the weekend. And that could be as difficult as chucking some things in the oven and then just portioning them out. If eating more whole food is really important to you and is going to help you, you think, then doing that intentional kind of 60 minutes of prepping is really going to help you. But also don't forget some of the more convenient versions of these things are, they're convenient. Yes, they're processed, but they're also going to save you hours. Okay, so this is quite a long question. It's not really a question, it's a statement. I wanted to read it out because I thought it was a really good reflection. I found myself making excuses to do the July movement challenge, and I was getting frustrated with myself. I've realised the barrier. It sounds silly, it doesn't, but I think it was psychologically to do with it only being a few minutes and not a full workout, but still needing to get my mat out and turn the video for reps, etc. So I just kept putting it off. So the first thing I'm going to say is, you don't need, firstly, well done for the reflection. Secondly, on any of these monthly challenges we're doing, you don't need the video. Once you've done the first day, you know the form, you don't need the video. But you absolutely can just go into the app and see how many reps you need to do. You also don't have to have your mat out. Okay, you don't have to have your mat out. So, but well done on the reflection. I realised it sounds crazy, but now I've started to bring the squats and the push-ups into my daily routine, and it's been working for me. So well done for recognising that something wasn't working and for changing that. I don't think I need to say anything else. I guess, no, it's not a full workout. It's a couple of minutes out of your day. But for some people in the group, that is all the movement they're doing every day. And something is always better than nothing. And remember that the idea of this movement challenge and all of our movement challenges going forward is to get you used to doing something every day, showing you that it really doesn't have to take loads and loads of time. And also, for things like push-ups, which have been in our July movement challenge, it's about giving you the confidence that you can actually do some of these movements, because some of you were just saying, I can't do that, and then not doing it. Okay, next one. I've started a walking training plan for the Chiltern 3 Peak Challenge in September. The plan suggests between 3 to 8 miles 5 times a week and and combined with 1 rest day and 1 cross-training day. 2 questions really. Do you have any views on this or comments or advice on a recommended training plan if it differs to this? And secondly, what do you recommend as the cross-training activity? Okay, so for me, my first thing would be, do not forget your strength training, which I know at the beginning of your journey you were really starting to get into. Yes, walking training for a walking challenge is really important. And most of what is being suggested there, you can do as part of your daily steps with the inclusion of some like longer walks at the weekend. Now, when they say 1 rest day, I do not recommend that you just don't walk on that day. I recommend you still try and hit your step target on your rest day, because metabolic health is so important, and just not moving on one day is not great for you. So I think it sounds quite, 5 times a week, 3 to 8 miles, sounds like it's quite structured. And I think the most important thing for you coming into September will be getting those long walks in. And I don't know how long, I haven't looked, I will look at it, but I don't know how long this challenge is for you in September. But the most important thing will be your long walks and building up the stamina of being on your feet for that many hours at a time. The rest of it can just be incorporated in your daily steps. The thing about the strength training is that's what's going to help you to be strong, to prevent injury, which is really important on a long walk. And it's ultimately, really important for our bone health, for our, for aging as women, and for you to complete this challenge. So I would do your strength training as your cross training, and I'd also suggest you do it another time per week, so getting in 2 of those. Generally, I think making sure you're planning in a long walk every weekend is really important, and then getting in some steps during the week as well is really important. But yeah, it sounds quite structured, and I would also say, think about when you go back to work after the holidays, is 3 to 8 miles 5 times a week achievable to you? Okay, good. I feel like I'm stuck in a rut and not taking the weight loss seriously enough at the moment. So this is for anyone that is feeling stuck in a rut. Why are you doing this? Why are you on this journey? What difference is it going to make to your life? What does it mean to you? What will the you in 12 months' time be doing differently if you achieve your goals to the you now? Right, just some questions to think about. If you answer them and you realise you're actually really happy with where you are, then maybe you don't need to lose body fat anymore. But if you realise that, you're not happy where you are and you do want to continue, my question to you is, what will it take for you to take this seriously? And also, by what, I'm not taking this seriously, what are you not doing? What are you not doing that you should be doing? Okay. Right, this is the last question, by the way. This is not something I would ever do, and this person has put ever in capitals. I think it's insane. But so many people are now taking, and I can't say this one, Mounjaro and Ozempic. Do you have any views on this? Sorry, door went again. Oh my goodness, it's like interruption central here. So yes, so basically weight loss injections, and do I have any views on this? Now, I recorded a whole podcast episode on this. I love the question. It's a great one for us to end on. Maybe I will just try and find the podcast number that relates to it it was called weight loss injections on the NHS, I think, and now I can't find it. I mean, I could pause again, but here it is, episode 82, if you want to listen to that. Bear in mind that that was quite a while ago, so but I don't think what I'm going to say now is much different to episode 82. There are some people that will absolutely, this will be the right route for them to take weight loss injections. And if they do that via the right methods, so through the NHS or, more through, when I say privately, I don't mean on the down low, I mean through, with a healthcare provider, then that will be fine. But I'm in quite a lot of Facebook groups, and some of them related to what I do, some of them just for fun. And I see this question asked: where do I get Ozempic? Where do I get weight loss injections? Has anyone done weight loss injections? How much weight will I lose in the first week? All of this. I would say there is a post like that in one of these Facebook groups that I'm in at least once a day. And it just shocks me, and I also have to really hold back from responding to them because I don't want to get kicked out of the groups for making it look like I plug my own business. But anyway, this approach won't work long term for anyone if they don't address the underlying behaviours and emotional barriers that lead them to overeat, or if they don't learn to manage their weight without the weight loss injections. So because you're part of my community, but for those of you listening that aren't, we work on building habits. And the reason we do that is because all the habits that you work on, eating your protein, eating your fruit and veg, drinking your water, doing your steps, working out, getting good sleep, managing your stress, all of those things are what you need to have what you need to do to give you the best chance for a long and healthy life. We add a calorie deficit if you want to lose fat. If someone uses weight loss injections but they don't add in any of those healthy habits, because let's look at the facts of why these weight loss injections work. They work by suppressing your appetite. So on most protocols of them, you eat breakfast, you do your injection, and then you don't eat for the rest of the day. And if you do eat, it makes you feel sick. So it suppresses your appetite. And actually, the drugs that they are using are drugs that are used in the treatment of diabetes. And I don't know whether this is still the case, but up until a few months ago, there were people who needed these drugs for their health because they were diabetic, but could not get them because the drug companies supposedly were selling them for weight loss because they can make more money out of them than they can selling them to the NHS. Now, that is just kind of what I've read about it. Don't quote me. No one from Diabetes UK said that to me, but I'm just telling you, if you don't, so these weight loss injections work by suppressing your appetite. Wonderful. And then obviously you put yourself in a calorie deficit because you're just eating breakfast and then you don't eat for the rest of the day. So you're not learning about protein, you're not learning about fruit and veg, you're not focusing on steps, you're not focusing on workouts, you're not focusing on water, you're not focusing on sleep, you're not focusing on stress, because basically you're putting yourself into a drug-induced calorie deficit, right? So when you stop the weight loss injections, if you've not started to build those healthy habits and you've not looked at some of the potential underlying emotional issues that cause you to overeat, then you will just put the weight back on. So the problem with them, especially the stuff that is available outside of the NHS and with healthcare providers, is that there's no support. When people are getting these on the internet, there is no support there to instill that behaviour and habit change. There's no support there to address the emotional side of fat loss. I know that for most of you, I have spoken to most of you about, you know, the all or nothing mindset, focusing too much on scale weight, you know, thinking that you need to burn a certain amount of calories in order to lose weight, starving yourselves, really restricting, never enjoying the foods that you love. We've talked about those things. They're still relevant for people that are using weight loss injections. So if they're not addressing those, and then they stop taking the weight loss injections, it's just going to go back to the beginning. So, like I say, I think that for some people this is absolutely the right way to go, as long as they get the support around it for the behaviour change that they need to make it last. But for the majority of people, these are not the way. They're not the way forward. In some cases, they are dangerous. They are making people ill. You know, just like things like meal replacement shakes. You know, I know so many of my clients and previous clients who have used meal replacement shakes and juices to try and shed weight really quickly. They've made themselves lactose intolerant. They've given themselves permanent digestive issues. You know, it just isn't worth it. So, great question. That's my view on it. Unfortunately, I think it will continue to be abused, and then we will start to see even more problems coming out of it in the next couple of years, where people have, you know, lost weight on it, stopped taking it, put all the weight back on. You know, it's crazy. But there we are. That's what the diet industry, the dark side of the diet industry, has done. Okay. Great questions, great wins. Thank you, everyone. Do remember, if you're listening to this and you are not part of my community, whether it's the Last Diet Club or Mum Boss at Home, I am running a accountability program for August called 31 for 31. We start on Thursday, the 1st of August. Oh, that made me jump. That was the dog. It's 31 days of accountability and support from me for £31. I will leave the link to the webpage in the show notes. The doors are going to close at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, the 31st of July. So if you would like 31 days of accountability from me for £31 in August, check out those links. I would love to have you. Right, everyone, have a good week. I'll speak to you later. Bye.